Hello everyone, I'm Dennis Burns from Boulder Sounds in Boulder, Colorado. Welcome to this, what I want to be a very informal walkthrough of 3 new libraries for the KORG Kronos from the hammered Dulcimer family. These libraries were originally released in software sampler format under the name of Hammered Dulcimer Trilogy. For the Kronos, EXS numbers 160 through 162. EXS number 160 is the Symbolum, and that's pictured right below me. That's something that's traditionally associated with Hungary. And it has this big, rich, deep sound, incredible resonance to it. 161 is the Concert Grand Hammered Dulcimer, which is pictured off to my left, your right. And you'll notice the strings on that instrument in the picture there's 3 strings that make up one main string. So it has this big kind of woody percussive quality to it. It's a rather large instrument, not quite as big as the Symbolum, but still pretty big. And then below that is what I would call the standard 2-stringed hammered dulcimer. That's associated with folk music in the US and the British Isles. That one has a very light, airy, bright quality to it, very transparent sounding. So I think you'll find these to be really nice complements to your sound palette of your Kronos. And I also want to mention I'm not much of a keyboard player, so I just want this to be like a little show and tell between me and a friend, just showing him some sounds. So no big production here at all. And I should also thank Yoshi Shogi and Dan Phillips from KORG, as well as Bill Bush for his programming contributions to this library. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so here we go with the Cimbalom. Here's program 0, and I'll just let you hear it a little bit and then talk about what's in here. So as you can hear, it has that long, sustained, very deep resonance, very rich sounding instrument. Now, also on the screen there off to the right, you'll see the Kronos editor, so you can sort of follow along with me when I advance through the different programs. So this program says switch 1 equals toggle joystick plus Y. So what that does is when I move my joystick forward, I get what are called rolls, which is the same as tremolo, taking the 2 mallets with your 2 hands repeatedly, hitting the same note quickly. But if I press switch number 1, and then I move my joystick forward, I I get the dampered samples. So let me talk about the articulations that were recorded. For the basic hits of the Symbolum, we have forte samples as well as mezzo forte samples. We also have dampered samples, which are created by a pedal. And we have the rolls. So there's basically 4 articulations. So in this first instrument in the bank, you have all your articulations available to you right away. Okay, let me move on to another program. So now in program number 1, we have the Symbolum again with mezzo forte samples only, and the joystick brings the roll articulation in. Why would you only want mezzo forte samples? Well, they have a different sound than the forte samples. Instead of hitting that velocity range that might just trigger the mezzo forte samples, we can get full up to 127 value in velocity and still hear mezzo forte. It has a different quality. It's got this real gentle sound to it. And again, on this program, if you move your joystick forward, you'll get the rolls. Okay. Program 2, we have the Symbolum. Now at the Y direction of the joystick, it brings in the damper. And this is the velocity switch Symbolum again, mezzo forte and forte samples. And the damper is a very cool sound. You could use it for really kind of interesting rhythmic lines. And also, remember, it's a crossfade, so we're going from the standard articulation gradually into the damper. So in real time, you could modulate it, or in your sequencer, you could do that, play in a part, then after the fact, move your joystick and get different mixes of the natural hit and the dampered sound. Program number 5 is the Symbolum with mezzo forte samples only. And this one has a karma pattern assigned to it by default. All of the programs have karma patterns assigned to them. And there are 4 scenes, karma scenes saved with each program, as well as a drum track. So this is karma assigned from C4 on down. So there's lots of, especially with the Symbolum, a lot of these karma patterns sound very cool. Okay, program number 5. This is just the damper samples. Notice when we get up here, they're not dampered any longer. So just like a piano, the top end with the damper pedal down still sustains. These dampered samples have a lot of bite to them. Good for interesting bass lines. Let's see, here's the rolls. So this is just a program with only the rolls. Single notes. Adding a second voice. Boy, I've got to get out of the key of C minor somehow. Anyway, those are self-explanatory. Now we get into some layered sounds. This is called Symbolum ensemble. So what is that? That is an electric piano and a steel drum layered with the Cimbalom forte samples. And remember, use your vector stick to get the desired mix between those two sounds that you want. Here's just the Cimbalom. It's got a slower attack than the other samples, other programs. Here's the pad sound and mixing them. Here's a Symbolum plus the choir. Just kidding there. Symbolum and strings. Symbolum plus pad. Ah, another karma pattern. Symbolum plus glass. So the glass sound is this. Symbolum and your mix. You can make some nice ethereal sounding pads. Symbolum plus spectra. There's the spectra sound. Fretless bass plus Symbolum. So in this we're hearing fretless bass plus a Symbolum, just the swell of the sound, no attack. So it's almost like a Symbolum reverb attached to a fretless bass sound. Kind of a fun sound. Okay, that's it for the Symbolum bank, and now I'll move on to the Concert Grand Hammer Dulcimer. So here we are with the Grand Hammer Dulcimer, the Concert Grand. This was recorded with wood mallets as well as felt, so the felt being a softer sound. And I also recorded the instrument plucking it with the flesh of my thumb, because I just thought it had a cool sound. Also, I recorded ornaments called drags, And I'll explain that to you in just a moment when we get to it, but let's listen to the wood hammer samples. Here are the felt hammers, a bit darker sounding. Here are the thumb samples. Kind of an interesting sound quality. It has a punchy, dark sound to it. Here's the drag. So a drag is an ornament that you quickly go ba-da-da-dum, and they typically lead into the downbeat or an important beat of the music, and they're very brief, and I sampled them for every note of the instrument. Here's the felt drags. Here's the wood drags, obviously brighter. This is grand dulcimer velocity. So what this is are the three basic hammered articulations, or I should say the one thumb, the two hammers, and then at the top velocity level, we should hear a drag. Right, so for example, here's the thumb sound. There's felt, wood, drag. And, you know, of course, if you think the drags are a bit, if you want them softer, just go into program mode into the oscillator, change the level of the drag, and save it as another program, and you're good to go. Grand dulcimer felt JS plus Y. Well, what does JS plus Y do? It brings in a drag. So if you prefer to bring in your ornaments that way using the joystick, you have that flexibility. The cool thing about that is it's a crossfade, right? So you can, if you just want a very soft drag, just a hint of a drag, just barely move your joystick. If you want a louder one, move it all the way forward. Same idea with the wood drags. Here we have a grand dulcimer with the wood plus the drag. Now these are velocity switch, so if you prefer to trigger them this way, it's just another setup for flexibility. Same idea with the felt hammers. These are now more sort of some layers with just some interesting sounds. This is called Grand Dulcimer plus Pluck. It uses a bouzouki sample, actually. Gives it a real edge. Sorry, back in C minor again. So there's the bouzouki sample. There's the Grand Dulcimer. Now here's a dulcimer with a choir sample. A string sample. So you almost get a little bit harpsichordish quality on that one, like a harpsichord with a lute stop. Grand Dulcimer plus pad. So that one is a pad sound, also using in oscillator 1 the thumb pluck of the string. And the pad sound is using a white pad and flugel pad. But I just love that thumb sound for some reason. Nice and dark, and it's got a little subtle punch to it. Here's the dulcimer drags plus glass. So these are more sound effects type programming. Grand Dulcimer plus Spectra. That one's self-explanatory. Just for fun. And the last one is the Grand Dulcimer cymbal flute. So that's 16 programs in the Grand Dulcimer bank. And now I'll move on to the hammer dulcimer. And here we are on the standard hammer dulcimer, the 2-stringed one. This was sampled with leather mallets as well as wood mallets and the drag ornaments that I demonstrated on the concert grand instrument. So program 0 is the leather mallets. Here are the wood mallets. Program 2, Hammered Dulcimer Leather Drags. And here are the wood drags. Hammered Dulcimer Leather Plus Drag. So, oh, this is a karma pattern that is assigned at default. So there's a lot of cool possibilities with these karma patterns with these hammered dulcimer instruments. Here's a wood plus a drag, triggered by velocity. Same idea. Here's leather hammers. The drag is brought in by your joystick, so you can vary the volume of it. You have a little more control that way if you prefer to do it that way. Just a very subtle drag. Or a big one. Here's a wood dulcimer with the same idea. Now, here's this is called hammered dulcimer velocity. So what this uses is the leather hammers, the wood hammers at a higher velocity, and finally the drag at the highest velocity. That could be very expressive, especially if you have a nice control over your keyboard touch, which I obviously don't. And here's some layers now, similar to the concert grand. This is and as well as the Symbolum. This is the dulcimer with a choir. You get the idea. I won't bore you to death with strings. Yeah, you get that kind of harpsichordish quality again with the strings. Here's a pad sound. Kind of an electric piano with a soft attack with the dulcimer. Creates a beautiful texture. Here's the drag plus a synthetic glass sound. Dulcimer plus Spectra. Here's the Spectra sound. Dulcimer drags together. Hey, there's a new chord for me, E major. I haven't played that yet. And Dulcimer with the cymbal flute sound. Here's the Dulcimer with the pluck, which is the bouzouki. The bouzouki just gives it a little bit of an edge. And that's it. So thank you for watching the video. And I think you'll find this to be a nice addition to your Kronos sound palette. And this library, at least as of now, this could change in the future. The way it's supposed to work is if you buy 2 of the Dulcimers, you get the 3rd one free. So we've tried to price it reasonably as we could. And we hope you enjoy it. And feel free to contact me with any comments you might have. So best wishes to you from Bolder Sounds.